time window during the day for a shad spawn that we see so many at a different time of the year, and with the herring spawn that we're seeing right now?
It's a great question, Tommy. The threadfin shad spawn we've been watching for many, many years. Now we see a lot more of the lakes that have really become populated with the blueback herring. And the shad spawn happens at night, during the night, and then the first hour or so of daylight, and then they just kind of go out and suspend, where the herring spawn happens during the night also, but then first thing in the morning is a good time frame. But then those herring and those fish that are feeding on them follow those out to a little bit deeper water. Oftentimes, like on a Lake Hartwell, 4 to 6 foot range where you see paw marks. We saw Emil, a lot of these other anglers fishing, Kioya's fishing kind of in that depth range. So those fish keep feeding, those herring keep spawning. It slows down. They're more active at night in the first part of the morning. But if you learn how to follow those herring and those fish that are following with them, and some of those, like especially the largemouth, they'll just stay up on those shallow places and they'll wait till nighttime or the afternoon, and night comes again in the morning. They don't follow, they don't chase as much, but the bigger spotted bass, they tend to follow that bait more so than the largemouth. Some of the largemouth do it, but especially on a place like this, that the quality of the spotted bass is there. You see these local anglers. Emil did it yesterday. Paul Marks is doing it today. We heard Brandon Cobb talk about it. They will continue to catch these fish that are relating to the herring. They just move from the very shallow water to a little bit deeper. Yeah.
Something you mentioned this morning, Ronnie Moore, you talked about timing. You talked about getting in a good rotation and a bad rotation. Who in your mind has kind of suffered from getting in a bad rotation, who had big potential on this lake?
Well, I think a lot of our local anglers that you think consider maybe favorites, the guys who have a lot of knowledge here, they're the ones who may run around way too much. We've seen it, at another herring place like Lake Murray with Brian New. When you've got 50 spots on a lake that you consider better than everybody else's spots, you run around, and if you do, stop on this spot instead of that spot, and then you go there and they're no longer doing the herring spawn. It gets out of rotation. So for this one, it's not laying out east to west, it's laying out north to south. And with us taking off at Green Pond, do you go farther north reaches to something that might be dying but you know it's there, or you take a gamble and go down to where it might be happening soon but maybe not today?
I don't know who I heard this from first, but it's a good comparison. And you mentioned Brian New. We've seen it happen with Patrick Walters, some other anglers.
I was thinking of,
It's like you're playing musical chairs. The music stops and you don't have a chair.
Yeah.
Even though you're the local guy with all the knowledge, and it literally almost happens just like that.
You see, sometimes people let local knowledge help them outsmart themselves.
Yes.
Sometimes,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's understandable how it happens.
That's why we praised Emil for sticking to it, and it paid off the afternoon yesterday. And we praised Paul for catching a limit, going up shallow, coming back out, and giving both things a run until you know which one's the weekend plan.
One other thing, real quick, you have to understand, Emil has done great things.
Oh, he's catch 16
pounds. It's his first day of a lake that he's looked forward to since he qualified for the elite. Saw it on the schedule, and he's got a live camera with him. You have to understand the pressure. Like I say, he's done great things, but the pressure of the moment didn't help him any yesterday. That will come. He'll be more comfortable with that at every single chance he gets to do that. But you have to understand that had a little bit of an effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Such, now we've been hearing a lot of kind of surprising statistics about the catch rates and frequency and stuff like that. Kind of fill us in on what's surprising.
Well, surprising is they're not catching the big fish they had yesterday. They had 102 limits. The average fish was just under 3 pounds. Today, everybody on Bass Track, except for a handful, have already caught a limit. We still got 3 hours left. Maybe some of the bigger fish will come this afternoon.
All right.
We got some more about that at the screen we'll do in just a little bit to hopefully visualize it for
Look forward to something you wanted to do this morning. Actually, we didn't have time to
But
get
it's
to
good.
it.
We'll save it for this afternoon.
We'll get there. We'll do that. Well, that's the representation that we're looking at, all the catches all over the lake, and they literally are all over the lake.
Yeah.
Some places a little more prominent than others as far as success of the anglers who are fishing there. Let's take it out to Luke Palmer.